If you're an entrepreneur that's been hearing constantly how you need to always be learning and obtaining new skills in today's market, but it only frustrates you because there's so much information, it's just simply overwhelming. And you've been trying to find a more simple way of approaching this so that you can become more efficient in your business. Look no further, you've come to the right video. I am going to offer you the three biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make when they don't properly learn how to learn. But I'm also, at the end of the video, going to give you three tips that are going to help you to improve your learning and show you the benefits of doing it a more efficient way. Let's dive right in. Now, I want to clarify first what I mean by learning how to learn. What I mean is you've been having efficient patterns of learning your whole life. When you learn how to walk, when you learn how to talk, read, write, ride a bike, etc., etc., etc. But there's always a better way of learning. There's a way that you could have tweaked those patterns and you could have achieved your objective a lot more smoothly and sooner, right? This is true in all cases, in all parts of life. There are simply more streamlined ways of doing things. When it comes to how you learn, you may simply not have good memory systems in place or good executional systems in place. But the hope is that there are others who have gone before you in the same field that you're pursuing that has figured out a way that is more streamlined, that will allow you to get more desirable outcomes, more effective and optimized results. And that's what I mean when I say learning how to learn. So let's now focus on the three mistakes that entrepreneurs make when they don't properly learn how to do this. Diving into mistake number one, relying only on passive learning. Simply watching or reading without engagement leads to poor retention. You have to engage with the information that you're taking in. Just knowing it at a surface level will not really help your retention. And what I mean by engaging, let's just say it's a concept where you're not doing any physical labor, but you may be performing more technological tasks or even delegating. The best thing in these cases when you're introduced to new concepts, right? When you're going through the repetition phase, because we're going to talk about that in a minute, or how valuable that is, right? Because if it doesn't go to a deeper surface level, you won't be able to retain the new concepts. Well, one of the ways that you can do that is by asking questions. You can ask questions to determine how these concepts are better used, how they can be more effective, and how you can obtain more leverage when it comes to these concepts by asking different questions. You can do this with platforms like ChatGPT or whatever the latest AI interface is. Simply ask questions. It will help you to engage with the concepts, these words and lingo more, so you can get a level of understanding when it comes to execution time. All right, so dive deeper and engage by asking more questions. All right, mistake number two, avoiding repetition. Now, this is a game changer, guys. When I first started to learn a few skills, when I would attempt to grasp the concepts, but I wouldn't dive into repetition, I could barely retain the information and I would forget it just as soon as I read it, right? And that wasn't helpful. But what I found was whenever I took the time to repeat it, not only did it become more interesting and I got to understand more levels of it and angles of the concept, it allowed me to be more familiar It allowed me to retain it in memory and also equip me for better question asking, right? Without reinforcement, new information fades quickly and is never internalized. You need to reinforce, right? Repetition leads to retention. This is a very powerful thing. That's exactly why when you repeat it, taking the steps, you retain the muscle memory, which led to more fluent walking, right? The same way when you rode a bike, the same way when you learn to read, the same way when you learn to spell. It's the same thing, right? Every principle is a microcosm of another principle. So one principle can be applied in a different area, right? All principles are microcosms of each other. There's something to glean from everything. So even though a lot of the technological information that we have now seems overwhelming, I'm here to tell you that you've already been here, been there, done that, right? In terms of pattern. So repetition and reinforcement leads to retention. So remember, you got to go deeper, guys. All right. Now, mistake number 3, focusing on memorization instead of application. Knowledge without real world use doesn't lead to skill mastery. Now, this is a game changer, guys. That's why I say it. Asking questions will help you gain a deeper level of understanding. So when it comes time to execute, you can do it more effortlessly. Now, the powerful thing about this is when it comes to repetition that leads to retention, that leads to better question asking. When you're actually faced with the real world obstacle, you'll simply know where to go to. You'll have more to draw from, right? When it comes to, and it'll be a lot more streamlined when it comes time to your iterations, right? And never feel bad about not fully having something down in the beginning. They're going to take iterations. As I said, when you walk, it took iterations, right? When you learn how to read, it took iterations. When you learn how to write, the pattern persists, right? And this pattern can be extrapolated from any of these situations and applied to a new area. So we know that testing it in the real world is where the real learning comes in. And the point of learning is not simply knowing, but to get to a level of mastery, right? That's when you can do a thing without relying on conscious resources. Just like now, you don't have to think about walking. You just get up and go. Just like tying your shoe. You don't have to think about it. You literally can tie your shoe without even looking now. And that's because you've gotten to a level of mastery. All right, now we talked about the 3 mistakes. Now I want to talk about the top 3 benefits of leveraging repetition for retention and mastery. As I said before, when it came to me learning new skills, such right now, media buying, right? I'm going through the process of becoming a certified media buyer. When it came to particular key terms and concepts, like I said, I had a system where I would take the title of the concept or the key term and put it on the front of an index card, and on the back, I would list the description or definition. And when I would repeat these concepts, I would retain the information, which would then lead me to ask better questions, which actually allow me to gain a better understanding when it comes time to execute. Now, fortunately for me, when it comes to media buying, I've already, been certified through Google Ads several times, and I've actually ran a few ad campaigns successfully. So I have a bit more experience than the average person who's setting out to learn it. But I'm telling you, this technique that I've had for repetition to retain has helped phenomenally. And like I say, anything that you're trying to using those index cards and repeating them, you'll get to the point where you don't even got to turn that index card over, and you'll just look at the key term or concept and you'll be able to easily define it. And as I said before, asking those questions, it helps you gain a deeper level of understanding. So asking questions is really essential in this process, guys. All right. One, the benefits of retention and repetition. Repetition and retention for mastery are the number one benefit is it strengthens your neural pathways, right? Repeating information helps solidify long-term memory and makes recall easier. And this is what I was talking about. When you're repeating the information, right, you're more easily able to retain it. And then when you tack on asking questions around this, like what would I do in this case, or what would I do in that case, right? And as I said, you could use ChatGPT or whatever the latest AI interface is to do this, and it will pull information from experienced professionals and the data that they have provided, and will offer you the information you need. That way, when you recall this information, it'll be a lot easier for you to do so, and you'll understand, okay, this is a certain situational problem that I've already asked questions around, and I believe I can take this approach, so we'll test this now. Okay, so, and remember, when it comes to true mastery, you have to do the thing. But having these systems in place will allow you a more streamlined process to be able to do so. Okay, one of the next benefits, number two, it builds confidence and skill mastery. The more you practice, guys, the more natural and effortless the skill becomes. Iteration is the breakfast of champions. It really is. Just like, of course, feedback, right? Why do I say that? If we say feedback is the breakfast of champions, well, iterations provide the feedback. It lets you know how close you are to meeting your objectives. So when you build that confidence through that familiarity, you'll be able to move a lot more faster, right? And things become effortless, right? And the skill becomes almost an unconscious part of you, which is what mastery is all about. So remember, guys, you definitely want to repeat things for retention, and you want to ask questions, and you want to consistently test. That way you'll become more confident, and it'll become a lesser part of your conscious efforts and will be a part of your unconscious muscle memory. All right, guys. The third benefit, now this is a doozy. I always like threes, right? The third benefit actually sums up why it is important to repeat things for the purpose of retention, so that you can ask better questions, so that you can take better actions. Okay. It enhances problem solving and adaptability. Deep understanding allows you to apply knowledge in new ways, making you more resourceful in business. You definitely want to be able to easily problem solve, because you are now retaining more streamlined information and skill. It will allow you to solve problems with much more efficiency and save a lot of time. So you want to be going through these processes, guys. You have to properly learn how to learn. And these steps are exactly how you will do them. And I'm telling you, once you get more efficient at this, you'll receive more benefits in your business and in your life. And it literally will be effortless. And they'll be looking at you like, why is this guy or this gal always seem to be winning so easily? Like, what is it about them that they know so much? And guess what? You can offer them this new information. I hope this video was helpful to you guys, and I will look forward to seeing you on the next one.